We're on the air now. It's time for us for the Sheriff Sitdown. It's brought to you by our great friends at Our Community Credit Union. Ryan Spurling and Casey Salisbury in studio. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Last week, Jail Chief Hansen was here, and we had a very good conversation, long conversation with him about ways some of the potential sales tax money, sales and use tax, and again, a reminder, it's a sales tax, not anything else, 3% there going to different parts of law enforcement and education and rehabilitation and all sorts of interesting topics that we talked about with him. You guys were not here because you were working with the Behind the Badge Foundation and learning a little bit about line of duty deaths. Is that right?
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit more about what you learned and the foundation, and this is a tough part of the job.
It's a tough subject to cover, and the folks that teach this class, two of them there have lost loved ones in the line of duty. A number of years ago, now Director Evans, Chief Mike Evans, and I attended a class in Wisconsin with a COPS organization, and then Behind the Badge has come out, and they're doing training now on how do you manage one of these circumstances when you lose an officer in the line of duty. And we were asked, along with the Chelan County Sheriff, Sheriff Burnett and I were asked to be the pilot programs for the state of Washington. And this is kind of I guess what you call a best practice on how to handle these horrible circumstances. And so Sheriff Burnett and I were, I think this week they go through to take the training, and we were in there for a couple days last week.
So is this for the families of the fallen officer, or is this for the comrades in the department of the fallen officer?
This is how administrative management teams, if something like that happens, how you organize from your end how to handle this, and keeping in mind all those issues that influence the family and are occurring with the family at the time that this happens and for many years beyond.
What are some of the things that you learned, Ryan, about this?
Well, it's a logistical nightmare, if you can imagine. Just this last year, we had 2 officers in Washington State killed in the line of duty, both in Kittitas and then down south. And to get the communities, like those communities and like our community that are just full of wonderful people that really support law enforcement, you can anticipate a minimum of 5,000 people being at the service. And you have to take care of the family as well, and take care of your officers and the officers that were on scene. And you have to provide so many different services, and you have about a 10-day period to do it. Mm-hmm. So waiting until that were to happen, and Lord willing, we'll never experience that through our careers, and I hope we don't at all here in this community, and we're going to do everything we can to prevent that. But we would be foolish to put our heads in the sand and think that it can never happen to us. But you only have 10 days to get that going. If you remember, for example, Tony Radulescu, who was killed in 2012, and it was at the Showware Center, and they had thousands and thousands of people. You have a lot of entities, not only public works, traffic control, all the different things that are involved, the honor guards that come from different agencies, the horn teams, all the different things, because it's a big deal for us to honor our fallen. So getting all of that in a flow spreadsheet, and we use the incident command system, and Behind the Badge, they've been through it, their family members have died, they have a passion to make sure people are taken care of in these situations, and they come in and they team up with a local command team, and they walk you through it, and they're unbelievable. The amount of time and effort that they put in on this, it's truly the most critical time is right in those first few days, to be there and to walk through it correctly with the family and the agency.
It looks here on the website, behindthebadgefoundation.org, if you kind of look at the history behind this, it says it started back in '95. Some surviving family members and law enforcement officers went to Washington, D.C. to visit the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial, and 35 states had memorials across the country, but we here in Washington did not. And so this group then formed to build one of these, and now you can see it overlooking Capitol Lake, right in the shadow of the Capitol. And is this where, when these events happen, now you mentioned the Showware Center, but what happens at the memorial on the Capitol campus?
On the Capitol campus, when you go there and look at that, you'll see the names of each of the law enforcement officers that died in the line of duty, and they're posted there. And you can see it overlooking the lake. It's a beautiful monument.
They also, if you have seen, you can now get, well, it's been a while now, but you can get a license plate that helps to donate funds to preserve this and help fund these types of things. It's the law enforcement memorial one that you see that one quite often as folks come through. So, and I'm thinking back now to times where, unfortunately, there may be multiple deaths in law enforcement. The Lakewood,
That's correct.
Yes.
For sure, and there was 4 at that time, and to have to come about with all the logistics for those types of events.
If you had seen that, I drove to the procession on that, and they actually, it was so big they used the air base to line up law enforcement cars at JBLM, and it was unbelievable how many people were there. But what that takes facilities-wise and things to feed that many people, and water for that many people, and bathroom facilities for that many people, and then to move that many agencies through the different cities and then down into the Tacoma Dome for that. There's a lot of planning involved in that. It's just immense.
So there are donate options on this website, so you can learn more there. But when it also comes down to the feeding and things like that, are these law enforcement focused private businesses that reach out and show up with food and other things like that?
Many organizations do that. We've set up through our 501c3, Charlie's Vision, we've set up an area of for donations in that 501c3. So if people wish to donate, even now, to have a fund ready, but we have a specific area on Charlie's Vision for the memorial piece.
And we were talking earlier, it being Amazon Prime Day today and tomorrow, you can donate to nonprofits, and I'm seeing on the website this is one of the ones support Behind the Badge Foundation when you shop at smile.amazon.com. So
Behind the Badge,
makes a big difference. The other thing that's there's just so many logistics, it's hard to think of all now, but I know that for instance in Kittitas County, and when they were dealing with that circumstance there, it's a tough time, and so agencies from other law enforcement agencies from across the state fill in for those officers at that time, and
come in and cover
their calls. So you might have, in one incident, a friend of mine's a Seattle police officer. He spent the week over there working as a deputy sheriff out of Kittitas County, filling in for a deputy's position over there as a Seattle officer, and he had many years ago worked for the sheriff's office over there, so he knew his way around. But agencies will often come in and fill in for those officers in that agency while this is going on.
How does that work so not to leave nobody here in the home county, so there's no law enforcement presence, but is it a hierarchy? Sheriff, I've seen you on the videos at some of the ones at the Tacoma Dome and such. Is it go from the top down, or is it everybody who would like to go but knowing some folks do need to stay behind? Or
well, generally administrative staff will at least be there, represent their agencies. It's tough to pull everybody off, but the last service we went to, a number of our people, they generally go on their own time, but attend the service because somebody's got to be working, and so not everybody leaves the community, but whoever happens to be off that day.
One of the first agencies in the state to learn a little bit more about this are your Mason County Sheriff's Department, and it's Behind the Badge Foundation at behindthebadgefoundation.org if you want to learn more and find out more about them. It is a tough thing to think about, but you have to kind of plan for the worst on these situations so you're ready to go. That's a tight window to be able to then support and honor the fallen officer there.
The thing that's amazing is how the communities rally. The community support, local businesses, those type of things. We've seen it over and over again in our careers of over 30 years of law enforcement. We've been to lots of funerals, unfortunately, and to see how the good people in the community step forward and support their law enforcement is what keeps us going. Because otherwise you could get really discouraged at times, especially during Lakewood. It was an interesting time for law enforcement to go. are we safe out there? You know, there's certain dangers that we face, but an ambush when we're not even arresting somebody at the coffee shop while they're following up on paperwork kind of changes the rules.
Yeah. Ryan Spurling, Casey Salisbury, nice to see you guys and sharing some information about this. And you can find out more, again, behindthebadgefoundation.org. This is the Sheriff Sit-Down presented by our Community Credit Union.